All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here, of course, for Monster, episode 11. And Tenma
has met the thief.
And he has joined his party of sorts.
Yeah.
And which is kind of interesting. I like that Tenma is has that potential to build connections along this journey to hunt down Johan.
And I think that's important because since they had a lot of people that he would meet along the way, but since he's now a runaway, they can't exactly have him meeting a new person every episode necessarily.
So I think they will.
They'll probably still
exactly that.
Yeah, they'll probably still do that. But I feel like this is a great way to have a character that's semi-permanent while Nina's not there.
Yes. If anything, Nina disappearing allows for a lot of off-screen development from her part for when we do see her again.
That's true.
She doesn't have to be exactly the same. She
can
be very different.
Yeah.
And also, in particular, the way they've been handling the episodic content at this point has been
really
near
good.
Flawless.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to every episode, regardless of whether or not there was any dramatic cliffhanger of sorts with the previous episode, which is kind of, now that I think about it, just kind of a newer thing that's mostly there to kind of cover up a weaker plot. But Monster just keeps
or to just
it.
deal with a lower attention span.
True. And Monster hits a more niche audience.
Now, are you being confused by how much you're enjoying the episodic format of this show?
Somewhat. Usually, guys, just a little bit of a clarification.
He's all about that linear.
I'm all about that linear story, and episodic content is a little bit harder for me to swallow generally. But this is
it's usually a 4-letter word.
This is one of the best episodic shows I've watched thus far. But you can't deny there is some linear content to it all.
Absolutely.
And a lot of that comes down to the directing and Tenma's character overall. But that being said, we're excited to get into this one. So without further ado, let's do this.
ここは旧東ドイツで貿易局顧問だったリーベルト氏の元の住まいだと思うんですが。
Shoot, gotcha.
I see the connection.
リーベルト氏のことを調べに来ただけ
He's like, he didn't come to
じゃ
buy?
ないのかよ。リーベルト夫妻はこちらにいるとき、双子の兄弟を引き取ったはずなんです。知らないって言ってるでしょ。このうちの地主さんは紹介してもらえませんか。ここの地主も外国にいるの。誰か10年前のことリーベルトさんを覚えてる人はいませんか。そういえば10件ほど先に旧東ドイツ商務省の元役人が住んでるな。
Alright, so he's being a little bit helpful.
リーベルトさんね、危ない橋渡って亡命なんかしなくてももう少しまでは東ドイツは自滅したのにね、リーベルトさんが孤児院から引き取ったあの双子。
Okay.
かわいいことだったよね。
Lead.
リーベルトさんずっと子供欲しがってたしね。
その孤児院は
511キンダーハイムだと思うな。
Alright.
511キンダーハイ
It's
ム。
impressive that he remembers that.
Yeah, that's really impressive. That's a lot of good info. What is this sound editing?
It's
so
it's
terrifying.
standard fare for Monster.
Yeah. But they're doing a really good job at it right
Making the place seem creepy.
now. How the camera angles and everything. Trying to make it bigger and more intimidating. Juxtaposing again, like it's looking down at him. Oh.
もうすぐこの孤児院の跡地もスーパーマーケットになるらしい
Torn
よ。
down, yep.
やっと気味悪い建物が取り壊されて
Oh,
せいせい
Jacob.
するよ。
Jacob, you were onto something.
Okay.
Disturbing
この孤児
building.
院の関係者の方は知りませんか。
このことは話したくないね。
Oh, dang.
気味悪い。
Okay.
どうしても話を聞きたいって言うなら47番地に元厚生省のハルトマンって男がいるよ。
Gotcha. And he did inspections on the orphanage?
I think this character is going to be the
あ、僕
lead.
この辺にハルトマンさんって人住んでないかな。どうした。
That glare.
怪我してるじゃないか。
His eyes
見せてごらん。
almost looked like the people
大丈夫だよ。
Johan
怖くないんだから。見せてごらん。
gets to.
治りかけた傷の上からまた怪我をしたな。可能仕掛けてる。我慢しろ。 ちょっとしみるがこれでよくなる。
Nice. Mom told me not to talk to strangers.
また怪我するぞ。
Tenma's a good guy.
Oh yeah.
ハルトマン。
There you
There
go.
we go.
Wait a minute.
その子たちは皆東ドイツ崩壊後私が里親として引き取って
Okay,
いたんです
gotcha. Because one of them
里親
looked a
ええ
little
養
bit
子縁
like
組や
Johan.
身の振り方が決まるまで
Yeah.
Not really. But,
私が預かっていた子たちでね。
oh, that's cool.
真ん中の子は
Yeah.
服飾メーカーの社長の養子として迎えられました。左端の子は今軍隊に入ってます。社会主義が崩壊してから私なりのやり方で子供たちの力になれないものかと。
Sure.
貧乏なんで思った通りにはいきませんが、しかし彼らも以前の孤児院にいるよりはずっとマシです。
Oh, okay. So tell me about the
511
orphanage.
キンダーハイムは厚生省と内務省との共同管轄の特別孤児院でした。その中でも特別孤児院はひどかった。単に
Special
身寄りのない
orphanages?
子供たちの施設ではありません。刑事犯の子供と亡命して捕らえられた政治犯の子
Oh,
供、
okay.
親が
Problem
内乱罪やスパイ罪に問われた子供たちの集まりだったんです。だから差別も非人間的な扱いも
Yeah,
当
that
然で
treated
した。
inhumanely part.
子
Here
供
we
たち
go.
は何をされても仕方ない
Gotcha.
立
That
場
might be why Johan so much didn't fear.
特別孤児院を支配していたのは恐怖と暴力だったんです。
Yeah, no, yeah,
あ
yeah.
そこではとてもまともな人間は育たない。
Jeez.
そしてあの事件が
Oh,
起きた。
oh, incident.
その孤児院で何が起きたんです？
あなた、あの双子のことを私に聞きたいとおっしゃいましたね。
何かご存知なんですね、二人のことを。
妹の方は別の地区の孤児院に預けられましたからよ
But the brother.
く。しかし兄のヨハンのことはよく知っています。
Whoa.
あれは最高機密でした。
Whoa.
Wait,
東ドイツ政府が徹底した箝口令を敷いたんです。
Whoa.
seriously?
まあ今となっては過ぎ去ったことだし、革命ですよ。
Holy crap.
Whoa.
Oh my gosh.
ただいま。
Oh,
ディータ
the kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
お客様だ。ちゃんとご挨拶しなさい。ディータなんだその態度は。ちゃんとご挨拶しないか。
いや、もうさっき家の前で会ってるんです。な。あ、それで今の話の続きなん
Yeah,
ですが、
about that other thing we were talking about.
子供の前では勘弁してく
Yeah.
ださい。
Makes sense.
そうですね。
フリーランスのジャーナリストということは、
Oh, that's
こうや
a,
って
that's
調
good
べる
guys.
ことを
Yeah.
記事にされるわけですね。
ええ、まあ。
それじゃあこの点だけはしっかり書いておいてほしいですね。
Okay.
子供の成長はすべて育てる。
Oh, here we go.
Oh,
Nature and nurture.
Yep.
Nature
Yep.
and nurture. Here we
正しい
go.
方向へ導かなければならない。
Oh, dang.
リーターはどんな夢を持ってる？
サッカーボール。
え？
サッカーボールが欲しい。
Oh.
そうか。
Oh. That's how
ご
poor
ち
the
そうさま
guy
でした。
is. Like,
Yeah.
もう一度ぜひ
just having
お
the kid
話
have
の
a
続きを。
soccer ball would be like a dream come
話が
true.
話だけに中断してしまって。
Wow.
また伺います。明日にでも連絡します。
No.
How much you want to bet Tenma's going to show up with a soccer ball?
ディータ
Getting a soccer ball. Wait. Oh, crap. Oh, no.
No, are you kidding me? Come on.
Train up a child in the way he should go, right? Parent is
Wow.
entirely responsible. Oh, they had to make both
Okay.
sides of the coin.
All right,
the
yeah,
good
yeah.
parts of what he's saying and the really bad parts of what he's saying.
Wow, okay.
Wow, I did not see that coming. Oh, there's the soccer ball. Oh, crap. No wonder the kid is so terrified and doesn't talk.
Yeah. And that he was hurt.
Haruto-man-san.
Probably from his
天馬です。
adopted
ハル
dad.
トマンさん。
Jeez.
ハルトマンさん。ハルトマンさん。
天馬さん。
Oh, you cannot be
Dita.
serious.
どうしたんですか？
落ちたんです。椅子の上に乗っていて。あ ティータ。
痛いよ。
Did he like break his shoulder?
ハルトマンさん、救急車を。
That doesn't happen from
デ
falling.
ィータ、見せてごらん。
Yeah.
なんなんだこのたくさんの傷跡は。
Good lord.
ここかい。ここが痛むのかい。
お引き取りを。
Oh,
しかし、
and
それよりあ
Tenma's
な
got a
た、
gun.
その傷の触り方、まるで医者みたいですね。
いや、
天馬、
Yeah.
どこかで聞いたことのある名だと思った。
Oh
あなた
crap.
医者ですね。
Oh no,
彼
no,
を
no,
人
no,
殺し
no,
て
no, no,
手配
no.
中。
Oh, here we go.
Okay.
この体中の傷は一体どうしたんですか。
Oh.
そんなことより天馬さん、
Yeah.
逃げた方がいいんじゃないですか。救急車と一緒に警察も呼びましたよ。さすが逃亡犯だ。気が短いようですね。
あなたがやったんですね。
どうするつもりだ。
この子を病院に連れて行きます。
殺人の次は誘拐か。
動くな。
そんなことをしてもすぐに捕まるぞ。
体中怪我してるのに病院に行ったことがないのか。
No.
怖い。今の世の中は悪いことでいっ
Yeah.
ぱいなんだ。だから僕は強くならなくちゃいけないんだ。
Wow.
強
Okay.
く。
ハルトマンさんがそう言ったのか。
世界は真っ暗だ。明日は真っ黒だ。
そんなことはない。世界が真っ暗だなんて大嘘だ。
本当？
Yeah.
ああ、本当だ。
The way they made his eyes look like someone that Johanna got to.
サッカーボール。
That was intentional.
That was intentional. You're right.
明日はきっ
He
と
was living in
い
fear.
い日だ。
Yeah.
2時間ほどで戻ります。あの子のことよろしくお願いします。
Careful, careful.
それから私以外の人間があの子を迎えに来ても絶対に引き渡さないでください。お願いします。
事故現場は片付いたのか。
いえ、まだ大渋滞
Oh
です。
boy. Close one. But if it's really
引き取ってほしい
close.
子供がいるだってで、何なんだいあんたは。こんな時間にいきなりやってきて。
無理なお願いなのはよく分かってます。でもその子は。
その子が幼児虐待を受けているのは分かったよ。でもあんたが誰だか分からなきゃ。
Yeah.
それは。
そんなわけの分からない人間から気軽に子供を引き受けるわ
Yeah,
け
that
ない
makes
か
a
ら
lot of sense.
もしかしてこちらはアンナ・リーベルトがお世話になっていた孤児院では。
アンナ・リーベルト。あんた、アンナ・リーベルトを知ってるの？
Yes.
やはりアンナはここにいたんですね。
ああ、懐かしいね。アンナは今どうしてる？
Wow.
The
She responds
differences.
with a smile. Yeah.
Yeah.
ここに来る前は本当に二人っきりだったんだからね。チェコスロバキアの国境線あたりで保護された時も手をつないで歩いてたそうよ。
Oh,
二
when
人
they were
寒さに
initially
震えながら。
found.
Gotcha.
リーベルト氏が引き取る話も最初はヨハン一人ってことだったんだけど、妹も一緒じゃなきゃ嫌だってチキンダーハイムと一緒にしない
Yeah,
でほ
don't
しい。
even do that. Like. Whoa.
インゲ、トイレはそっちじゃないでしょ。
Sleepwalking.
ほら。大丈夫大丈夫。怖いことなんて何にもないよ。さ、一人でトイレに行けるでしょ。人間として成長していくには愛情しかない。
Whoa.
Yep.
あんたの言った
Yep.
通り当時
This
の
episode
東
is
側
so
の個人は
rich with
そりゃ
death.
ひどいものだ。
Yep.
ここも
So the only
あそ
reason
こは厚生
Anna
省と内務省
or
共同
Nina
管轄の特別孤児院だったけど、その意味がわかる。
いえ、
No.
内情はね、内務省によって管理されてたのよ。
Oh.
だってあそこは旧東ドイツの実験場だったんだから。
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
God.
All right,
Oh,
so-
my God.
Okay. So
Whoa.
that happened. I feel like they could have done either of the two things that they did, and it would have been an amazing episode, but they did both, and they somehow made it work with the old talking about the orphanage and all that stuff, and going into like what it actually was, and Johan apparently led an uprising, and then the whole thing with the kid and the part of me really wishes Tenma had shot that bastard, but
okay, so I am ready to talk now. so here's the thing. First of all. I have history with working with kids in the foster care system, living in our house, working with them, dealing with them and stuff like that. And one of the things that pissed me off so much, just pissed me off to no end, was I would hear stories of homes that kids would go to, and the kids would get fed, and they would get, beds, and like I could give you a horror story right now. Oh, I'm just gonna give you one. There's a story of one where the kids would be locked in their rooms 24/7, locked, like physically locked, like bolt locked. They would slide food in like a prison. They would then, whenever any of the kids did anything that was outside this list of really ridiculous rules and stuff, they would shock them with like cattle prods and stuff. Like, I'm talking like this is like literally a prison like ward. Yeah. And these people would get arrested and stuff, but not after doing this for like 3 months or something, like some stupid amount of time.
What does that do to the kid?
Yeah, what does that do to the kid?
Yeah.
So abuse is a very real thing, guys, and when it's handled in a very well done way like this, because it shows how people who they got something right. The nurture argument is very strong, literally in the positive and negative way, because of this episode. You can pinpoint exactly how they showed the dichotomies of how Johan has a little bit of mystery around him, because there's not just the abuse that was going on. There's some other things going on there as well. Yeah. But the difference is Nina, or is it Anna?
It's Anna Liebert, Nina Fortner, and she ended up choosing Nina Fortner when she
right. So yeah, she ended up turning out exceptionally well because of the care she got. Now Dieter, for instance, turned out very
he
very
hasn't
different.
turned out yet. He's still in that formative stage, right?
Exactly, but
he's
but
just
the point,
dealing with it.
But the point is, he was under the influence of fear to the point where it was stunting his ability to communicate and relate to people, and that's just the tip of the iceberg with regards to the effects of abuse and this type of thing. And it really made me so mad that I was like cheering the guy. I'm like, yes, exactly. The parents are responsible in a lot of ways for the formation of a child this way. There's a lot of things to be said for the nature argument as well. But then the minute the door shut and the shadows hit him and that music changed, I was like, oh no, you did not. Like my internal justice meter was just
through the roof.
Kill him.
And it's like,
don't you dare touch this boy. Like, oh man. So one of the things that I would love to talk about initially is just unpacking the nature versus nurture argument.
It's
where do you stand? Do you lean towards because I think we're both either in the middle or towards the nurture side of things.
Yeah, I'm very much towards the nurture. The idea that a lot of times the things that people claim to be nature is actually just nurture that happened really early.
Yes.
Because when children are born, they are information processing machines. Right? They're just absorbing and taking stuff in. Genetically, there's no difference between a kid that's born now and a kid that was born thousands of years ago, right? That had to adapt to, caves and stuff like that or whatever, right? So,
I mean,
it's huge.
I mean, one of the things I just want to preface, though, is you and I are not geneticists, so you could be wrong in that statement.
Sure, but
the point,
but it's just
the
as
point
much
remains, though, the ability that they had as information absorbers and pattern matching, all that, is insanely similar, probably, no matter what time you bring them out.
Exactly. While people may have, humans can change over the years, and all that stuff. The idea is that the primary function of the kid when it's born is the same now as it was then.
Yes.
And they're very good at doing that. So, they can still adapt to this in, thousands of years from now. They'll still be able to adapt to whatever they have, at that point. So and this is one of the reasons why, like, those kinds of situations where there's the kids that are from bad places, it can be one of the most twisted things ever, because they started out, they somewhere along the line, someone twisted them somehow.
Yeah, and when it comes down to things of development and such, there's I believe a lot in the power of choice. But one of the things that people, especially nowadays in my circle, have been really bringing up, and in a lot of ways they're right, is that people aren't being brought into this world at an equal place.
Exactly.
So they're being brought out of the womb, essentially, in an equal place, in that we are all human beings and we all have that information processing bit. But somewhere along those first few years, you're taught, you absorb specific bits of information that shape you into a different person, a fundamentally different person with less advantages. So Johan, in particular, was given less opportunities than Nina or Anna was because of the setting he was brought up into. And one of the things that I'd say a lot of people are very quick to kind of jump on this with this whole argument is saying that, but here's the thing, there are exceptions. Like, I've seen people come out in great circumstances and all these things and go absolutely wrong. Now, one of the things I have to tell you is most oftentimes when they're talking about these stories, these are with other people. These are not themselves. This is not first-hand information. So generally speaking, you're wrong about part of it because you can't be getting this information firsthand. Unless you're talking about yourself, your lens of perception filters it somewhat.
Exactly.
So I am all for the exceptions within the nature versus nurture argument. The exceptions are always going to exist.
Except for when they don't.
Yes, that's what I mean. Is that
the
generalizations are always wrong. Ha ha ha. Funny. But the nurture side of things is so pivotal, and as we get more and more understanding of human anatomy, physiology, biology, how the brain works, and as we get more knowledge with science and stuff, we will be able to help these young kids grow in a more empowering environment, an environment that helps foster their creativity, helps foster their innate genius, essentially, the genius of humanity. So I get really pissed off when I see this side of things in stories, because it's one of the things that is almost a daily present, constant thing happening all over the world, regardless of country, governmental system, or whatever. And I'm really glad that Monster is one of those intelligent shows that's going to handle it by showing how the full package can be unveiled.
Because here's the thing. As much as we hate the guy that was beating the kid, and as much as we may wish that Tenma had shot him, there comes down to the fact that, what were those things that they mentioned? Oh yeah, we really don't have much money. Like there probably was some aspect of it with the soccer ball. He wasn't getting it because they really didn't have money.
It's not practical.
And here's the other thing. He beat the kid. He probably learned that from somewhere.
Yeah. See, this is the thing that's really, really quick to do with the nature-nurture argument, is when you see someone doing the nurture part wrong, you assume their nature is wrong, is bad. So here's the thing. Monster as a show is so genius in that it's putting Johan out there as kind of an easy, how would I say this?
It's easy to vilify Johan.
It's easy to vilify
maybe
Johan.
You should, because there might be some nature part to that, because he's, nurture does a lot of things, but Johan is pretty far out there. So, who knows?
But that's the thing, is you don't know. Yeah, you don't know. So don't be so quick to vilify this horrible guy. Like, yes, he's horrible.
Yeah.
And in the way we are vilifying him, but I'm saying,
right, yeah.
at the point at which we then assume the nature of a person is where we step into this really weird area where we are pretending to be more like we dehumanizing people almost always is the wrong thing. Again, there are exceptions probably out there, but I'm not going to say what they are. I think that Monster as a show is really genius in showing that monsters create monsters. And it's not even that either of them are actually monsters. It's that monstrous deeds, monstrous acts beget people that do monstrous things. And
hate
it's
hate.
Hurt people. And well, what we've seen here in the story, if we're going to get to the plot of this episode, is that the East Germany governmental system had their hands specifically in the orphanages for testing, for conditioning, for you know, brainwashing of perpetuating their governmental system.
Yeah, whatever it was. We don't really know. That's one of the brilliant things about it. By doing that reveal about the dude, it basically made it so that, great, he doesn't have to be killed by Johan.
No.
A different monster got to him, and now we're never going to hear the truth, at least not from him. So now the mystery keeps going, right?
Yep.
There's that fear that's building up, you know, still in us, in Tenma, and you know, everywhere. And that's...
It's really good.
It's
A quality storytelling.
It is.
One of the things that you caught on to very quickly was the fear in his eyes. And you're like, it looks like he's being affected by Johan. I was like, Jacob, that's dumb. Like,
no, I know. And I was like, it's probably me being paranoid. But it was
basically
Johan,
the same thing.
Fear. Yeah.
It was fear. And this is something that the show has brought up a lot of times, is fear is something that twists the nature of a person. So they brought it up also in this episode, I think what the opposite is, that people need love in order to fully mature as a human being.
Love and fear
are opposites.
Yeah.
So fear, even when placed into the heart of an adult, like a fully grown, mature, physically, adult, completely warps and twists the nature and undoes essentially all of the previous things that made them into a fully functional, well, you know, brought into society human being. They have no problems really, but once fear, insidious fear comes in and grabs a hold of them, it's basically the same thing as brainwashing. Now, I'm going to jump onto a little bit of the theory boat here.
Okay.
I think that the reason why Johan is so obsessed with fear is because they were experimenting with fear on the kids. And they were trying to figure out how they could craft like mini soldiers, basically.
All right.
Like, you know, kind of that, like, almost like that sleeper agent propaganda we got like a long while back about, the Russians doing things or whatever. Yeah. Whatever. Forget
Staring
that.
at goats or whatever you want to call it.
Forget that. But this idea of experimenting on kids generally always leads towards some kind of military application.
Yep.
And I'm going to guess that Johan is something that was a side effect of them doing this because it worked. It worked way too well.
Right. It worked better than expected. And, oh, by the way, he's like, hey, there's all these meat sacks around here that I can have do my bidding.
I think he's not that... I don't think he's like that necessarily.
Okay, I'm just saying...
I know, that's a great way to look at it.
Led an uprising, and the way he usually gets people to do stuff he wants...
Yes,
you know.
Yes. I think that he ordered all the kids to do it. I think he just walked out of there like it was nothing.
Yeah, I think so too. Yep.
The question, though, the question why I don't think that story perfectly fits, is that they know he was from that orphanage, and the Lieberts adopted them from that orphanage. So where does the uprising fit into all of this? Because if they know he led it...
Well, okay, the uprising might not have been successful.
Oh, crap.
You know?
Oh, crap. Wait. No, it couldn't have been successful. Because if it was successful, you know, if it was... And he would have booked it out of there and gone to his sister, like, immediately.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, he would have been gone. So, if anything, what I'm guessing is this really twisted thing where you have all these kids, right?
Oh, and then they realize this one started it. He's the most promising one. Gotcha. Yep. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. And then also this politician, this Liebert fellow who goes and adopts him. Why did he adopt him?
Yeah, because
and
he
flee.
Well, yeah, because he went to adopt Johan, and Johan's like, "Well, we got to get my sister." So that is a very good point. Holy crap! Yeah,
Johan might have been the instigation for even the adoption itself.
Sure.
Johan, the politician guy, might have been in on this whole thing.
Yeah, he could.
And the reason why he killed him was he was just trying to find a convenient means to get out of there and act his revenge on the guy that was responsible.
Sure.
So
the
killing was just, oh, now that I've got you here, wonderful. You know that orphanage that you were in charge of? Wait, no, actually, we could confirm this. If we go back at some point and rewatch the episode, they mentioned specific bureaus. He was, I think, the governor. No, he was the governor of the place that they moved to, I believe.
I thought he was an opera singer.
No. I'm talking about the adoptive family that brought in Johan and Anna.
Okay.
They were from East Germany.
Yes.
They were officials in East Germany. They might have been in the departments that were in charge of oversight of the things that were going on there.
All right.
Johan might have been seeing this guy go in and out of things and like that. And he's like, I'm going to make you adopt me out of guilt or something.
Sure. Or maybe that was always the sort of the plan of how they would cover for it. And Johan was just the one that basically won.
Oh, so Johan was like, yes, I am a obedient, I'm an obedient child. You will use me to whatever. Ends. Yeah. And then brings him out of East Germany. He just creepily smiles and kills them all. And
right.
Whoo, boy.
Okay.
This got complicated and I love it. It's
this
really
blew up
juicy.
so much.
And the really creepy thing is that the people around know about it. So it's almost like Johan saw the effects of the uprising on the town maybe and was like,
he saw the fear in their eyes.
Oh, this is good. I can use this. I will devote my life to becoming a true vessel of fear. Someone that will never be afraid again, because all will fear me, essentially.
Right.
And maybe he wants to make some point.
Oh.
That's maybe his goal at this point, is he's not necessarily going around. I mean, he might be enjoying it. I think that might have been a more of a theatrical thing for Tenma. But I'm guessing that if he enjoys it, that actually scares him a little bit. He's scared about how much of the monster he's releasing.
Sure. Well,
but he's more of doing this to prove a point to people like the ones that made the orphanage.
Because then now the message that he left in the building in the last episode makes way more sense.
Way more sense.
Here's another thing that they could do. So if Anna or Nina is his one weakness, why is that? My guess is that it's because they love each other. They care about each other. They're family, right?
Oh, sure. Well, yeah. That was the obvious
Fear and love
one, right?
are opposites.
Oh, genius.
So what if it's that he's actually, because of, say, his upbringing, he's in a way terrified of the world, but not her.
Right.
But not
I love
her.
it.
And that's why he wants to keep her around, right?
And that's why he's seeking after fear, is because ultimately he was scared. He was scared at one point, and he never wants to feel that way again.
And maybe he still is, and the only way he feels like he can beat it is by having a bigger fear, saying, I control you. You're my puppet, right? I know you.
Ugh. The weird thing is I can see him saying that when he finally breaks. I'm envisioning a part in the future where Johan comes to the closest bit of actually breaking. I don't think he will, but if he did, I could hear him saying those words. I literally could.
Sure. Or maybe that's what Tenma or Nina says to him. As their way to try and break him. Yeah. Because here's the thing.
And it's too late.
With the way because with the way they set up this episode, I feel like this is a kind of little microcosm of the show as a whole.
Yes.
With
every episode of Monster.
With the kid, right. But for the kid, it pertains to Johan a lot, I feel like, because of the mistreatment and stuff. And there's the whole question of, were Tenma's words and actions enough to reach the kid and maybe heal some of the hurt that had been done? Because here's the thing,
Tenma saved his life, and I think that physical act does a bit.
I'm sure it absolutely helps, but there's the idea that like we had foster siblings, right? And we, loved them as much as we could and all this stuff, but they were from really rough places, and
it wasn't really reciprocated as much.
And but we still had an effect on them. So it's the idea that in the case of Johan, since he's much like farther gone in that sense, right? Well, I think it'll be more along the lines of something where that's the tragedy of it. The idea that the monster inside all of us, even if it's not something we realize, can create monsters in other people in the same way that Tenma does the opposite.
Good intentions really doesn't mean anything in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
It's about how people perceive things, because their perception or your perception dictates your reality.
Yep.
And the craziest thing is that we all have unique perceptions. There's no real way to perfectly communicate through someone's perception and, account for every single thing.
Yeah, we fear the stuff the most that is not... usually our fears are unfounded, right? It's just us being afraid of stuff, and it's illogical, but that's part of its nature,
unknown or what have you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So exactly. It's
right. Yeah. It's kind of like how like a specific word can trigger people, whereas with other people that word like doesn't mean anything. I'm talking like something like, like a gross word, like the word moist.
Oh boy.
People are like, oh, I just made like half of the audience just cringe right there. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah. But like there's so much that's dictated by our perception in that regard that Monster as a show is showing that Johan in particular, we're not instantly supposed to go, this proves there's nothing about his nature that's wrong. He's just an abused boy and stuff like that. It's supposed to get us to question basically any time we would take, a person and go, you're the worst thing about humanity. You should never have existed. Yada, 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 yada. All those things. Then you go, whoa, wait, hold on.
Right.
Like, if even Johan, we can think about for a second and go, is nurtured in the environment that he was nurtured in, created him.
Right.
How much more so have all the horrible peoples of the world done things? And this is a really tough conversation to have, because the thing is that most people that do horrible things are not Johan's age. They are much older.
Right.
Let me tell you this. This is actually probably the worst problem about the whole thing.
Yeah, the kid, the dude that was beating the kid.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect example. Johan gives us this weird, creepy vibe because it's that thing straight out of the horror film where the little girl with the long black hair comes in and just starts killing everyone or something.
It's the idea that it's so out there.
It almost feels alien. But the thing is, reality is stranger than fiction. So
the
true.
Things that happen in reality, you would not actually be able to make a story out of because no one would believe it. They'd say that's unrealistic.
It's too disturbing, or it's too out there, so to speak. So if anything, Monster embraces that and says, we are going to make the unsettling, unrealistic aspect of Johan be there specifically to make you ask questions about humanity about the nature of a person versus their monster, their internal monster.
In the same way that stories will oftentimes do aggressive introductions where they'll showcase a character really strong as being, some aspect of their personality, right? And a lot of times they'll even overplay it and then sort of retract some of it later and be like, that's not what they were really like. You just need to get to know them, right?
Yeah, of course.
That's
a very tried and true trope, by the way.
They're doing that here, but instead they're making it so that, okay, the idea of a monster, we're going to make someone that seems so monstrous, so unsettling about it, that you'll know, okay, that's what we're talking about here, right? And then when you come up with the idea of, like, where did this guy actually come from?
Why is this person a monster?
Is this actually all that unrealistic?
Right.
Maybe the actually turning people into fear zombies, sure, but but the stuff that happened with the kid, right?
Oh, that's real.
That's real.
That's real. That's like common real.
The idea that he might have said to Tenma, even while Tenma's got him there and he's got a gun pointed at his adopted dad, he might have said, "No, it's fine. Everything's okay."
Yeah.
I want to stay here. Right?
Oh, so fear makes people do crazy things. And I really liked how almost unsubtle this episode was. If anything, this episode had a lot of things about it that were subtle and they were very cleverly put in there as themes and such.
Like the way that we didn't realize at first that the dude was beating the kid. Like the way that the kid like tugged on Tenma's
yes, all those little things.
Stuff.
But I'm talking about the themes in particular.
Oh, sure.
The themes were like blaring red lights at you.
These are the themes.
Yeah, and those themes being like very obvious about how Johan and Anna were raised in different places and they created different people.
Yep.
And the power of fear versus love in that regard is all very good stuff.
Yep.
And having those be obvious, I think allowed us to go, awesome, we can dig deep into this episode. And then there are these really good things where they're bringing up aspects about, whether or not we should be blaming even the father, essentially, whether or not we can really go and vilify anyone with regards to things like this. Is this going to be a thing of where Tenma tries to save Johan? Like, that was one of the things that Anna or Nina told him is save
as many people as you can.
One of the choices I think that's going to come towards the story, and I think this is totally being foreshadowed since like the beginning, but more so, like more obviously so here, is what it's going to come down to is that I think Johan will let Tenma make the choice of whether or not he'll kill him. I think that Johan values his life.
Yeah, I mean,
just as much as Tenma
but
does.
He also very much values Tenma, so it's
well,
or at least he seems to.
Okay, I'm that's not where I'm going with this. Where I'm going with this is that Johan has a lot to learn and he knows it, and having the doctor essentially be given the ability to try and save him. And maybe Johan sees, could he save me? Could he save me?
Do I want him to save me?
No. Not even that. I don't even think that really even enters his mind. It's basically just does he have the ability? Because I if you have a kid, and we're talking about Johan here, so I don't really know how to compare him to anything in real life. But Johan sees Tenma, and Tenma's like, I can save you. I don't have to kill you here. We don't have to be, enemies. You don't have to keep killing people. I can be there for you. I can be the father you never had. And he pours his heart out to this kid who's a serial killer.
Yeah.
And Johan's like, it didn't work. Like, oh, you tried. I appreciate you trying. Doctor,
it's a nice sentiment.
It was, well, basically, like maybe he entertains it.
Yeah.
And it's just that's not enough. Your words and your promises, you're one person. I have, 10 years or something of trauma.
With the way I am right now, I don't value that enough.
Right. That's not enough. Can you give me more? Is there anything more you have to offer me, Tenma? It's like, no, of course not. And then maybe he tries to kill Tenma. Or he's like, you're useless to me.
And the way that this could end up being just really awful is the idea that even though you can see how someone got to where they are, right?
Yes.
Even though you can see how someone got maybe turned into a monster.
Sure.
There's the idea that if you still have the monster right there, what do you do?
Yeah. And I think that Tenma's choice just got a little bit more muddied. I think that when he kind of stared a very typical kind of monster that many of us, I'd say probably just based on statistics, many of our viewers here have had to deal with is the abusive dad. That's not an uncommon one. That's almost a bad trope in and of itself.
Yeah, not always the dad either.
Not always the dad either. That's very true. And this doesn't have to be just physical abuse. It could be all kinds of things.
Yeah.
But that moment where Tenma's like, I can't just kill you.
Right.
I know you are the type of person that deserves death. You took this boy into your home and you twisted his brain through fear enough to that I'm going to mold you into the perfect child.
Right.
Through beating him half to death. It's the kind of thing that just twists your gut in the way, and yet Tenma's not going to shoot him. This is one of the things I keep having to be reminded of, I think, is that Tenma's a really good guy.
Right.
Tenma wants to save people as much as possible.
Yep. Here's another thing that's good to bring up. The way they brought up pasts and backgrounds and where you grew up and stuff. He's a doctor.
Yeah.
Not only is he a doctor, he was a neurosurgeon at the top of, at the top of the top, right? The rising star. Here from another country. So, his life probably wasn't too rough up till that point.
Right.
And because of that, he was able, he's able to have this loving heart that helps so many people around him. And a lot of people, they end up they didn't have that.
Yeah.
And it's like, so it's the fact that they have both the negatives and the positives is just, it's great. Like, because if they didn't have it, it could almost end up feeling kind of like almost preachy, where they're saying, here's the answer rather than here's the question. Here's what you should, here's something to think about.
Right. And if anything, this show really avoids that whole side of things. Yeah. They are not trying to preach to you anything more than just love people. Like, that was the only thing preachy really in this entire episode. It was like, people need love in order to mature as a human being.
Yep.
No one's going to deny that.
Yeah.
No, that's like one
Hopefully
of the most
not.
generally accepted truths in all of humanity, is that love is a big deal.
Although, that dad, he probably would have denied it. He probably would have said, it's not that important, or no.
Or it's not the most important thing.
Or it's not the most important thing, yeah.
Anytime you hear someone trying to preface how, well, love in moderation.
Yeah,
or
it's like,
love, just make sure you add... No.
See, you don't want them to grow up to be have a weak spine, or something like that.
Oh my gosh. This is one of the weirdest things that I think that this show has brought up that was, not even a thing that's been talked about prior in episodes, was how important the positive aspects that redeems and or saves monsters, essentially. The type of thing that brings people back from doing monstrous things. The types of things that, let's avoid the whole monster thing for a second, but the things that make broken people unbroken, the things that actually save people. It's basically all love. There's really nothing else out there that's that powerful. Most all the other stuff is temporary. It's pretty superficial. It's all good stuff probably, but it's not anywhere close to it.
Yeah.
Because you can be in the most horrible environment and have a family that loves you.
Right.
And you can.
That's a trope in stories where there's the people with
stories.
Nothing, but at least they have each other.
Yeah.
The reason it's such a trope is because
that's
it's
real.
True.
That's real life right there.
All you need is love.
Yeah. Oh boy. Well, we've been doing, this is an hour long so far.
Yeah, but
I think we can mention a couple other things.
So
There's a lot of plot foreshadowing here. There was a lot of plot reveals. There was a lot of Tenma just kind of walking to places and getting answers. But the fact that they ended the episode, the second half of the episode, was such a terrifying, thrilling, just gripping bit of story. I excuse any bits of the first half that were kind of all right, we walked this place and answered some questions.
Yeah, and
because I don't even remember it really anymore. I was just so gripped by the last 10 minutes of the episode.
Yeah.
There was some really good sound editing, and I called it out earlier.
Yeah. I've just come to expect it.
It's basically the norm now.
Yeah.
I'm looking at any of you guys that want to go into any type of post-production editing sound kind of style things. Look at Monster. This show did something right. So
not that we know anything about that, really, but wow.
No, but it was actually kind of funny. I was at Rooster Teeth Studios at my visit a while back, and I was talking with one of their sound guys there, and he was talking about kind of the things that people do with stuff like this, and how this type of effect, not like a sound effect, but the effect on your brain, what that is. And I mentioned Monster, and he was like, "Oh, I haven't watched that. I've got to watch that."
Nice.
And I linked it to him, so that'd be kind of cool. But if anything, this is the kind of thing where you get a whole lot more out of the ambiance, or maybe the
watching experience.
Just the watching experience. Thank you. Yeah. Just the general watching experience because of how well they implement the sound.
Yep. It reminds me of a silent voice, but if it was scary.
Whoa.
Like,
yeah, silent voice is also a great example of good sound design, but yeah, they communicate different feelings in that one.
Yes.
We're very different feelings.
Right.
I
Now-
would say that this is almost a tie-in to where we could see Nina/Anna in the next few episodes.
Possibly.
Because
Possibly.
he could get some
Yeah.
he could get some info from them
Yep.
as some things like, hey, what are some of like things, have you had any contact with her?
Sure. Yeah.
Or I mean, it might not be, because if anything,
At least, I mean, it was directly brought up. So
right.
yeah.
So maybe he'll start looking for her now because he knows that
He knows a
she
bit
at
of
the very least,
the past. Yeah, and that's probably something that Nina doesn't really know,
or she doesn't want to remember,
or she doesn't want to remember something, because I get the feeling Johan probably wouldn't go into too much detail about it. Like maybe he told her that, like, yeah, it was bad. But and here's the other thing: they didn't start at that orphanage.
Nope.
So
It
there's
was border of Czechoslovakia.
Yep. So they came from Czechoslovakia. So what happened there? Was Johan a relatively normal boy before then? Like, I feel like they could set it up so that he could have been, and then he ended up getting twisted at the orphanage.
But that's
or was
the
there
thing.
some of the nature thing in there?
There's that aspect of the nature-nurture argument.
Because they got like a critical success with their experiments on Johan, basically.
Well,
if that's what they were trying to do.
Well, yeah, that's our theory right now. But or at least the theory that we've come up with so far. But I want to say that this show will not try to give us too much empirical evidence towards one argument side entirely.
That's a great point. So they'll probably leave it ambiguous. Yeah,
because
it answers the question.
Well, it not only answers the question, but it's because he's the focal point of the questions. He's used as the perfect example.
Yes,
that defies all the answers, essentially.
Yep.
So what they'll do is they'll answer the question over and over and over again from both sides with side characters.
Sure, that makes a lot more
like
sense.
Mr. Hartman here.
Yeah.
But yeah. I hope that boy Dieter ends up okay.
Yeah.
This was kind of a part 1 of 2 episode, though, don't you think?
It kind of felt like it, because he was talking to the lady, at the other orphanage, and she was awesome.
Yeah.
Like, she was there for like barely any time
I
at all.
loved her character. Yeah.
Yeah.
But hopefully Tenma finds a way to solve this problem without just abandoning the boy, because that would suck.
Yeah.
He might have to, though. He really might have to. Who knows? All right, guys. Well, this was a fantastic episode. One of the best monster episodes ever.
Wow.
If you want to see the next episode's reaction right now, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. Get on early access. You can watch our full-length reactions there. And all this comes with Discord access, so you can goof off with us or chat about whatever there. And yeah, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.